Yeah, we'll see how this works tonight. This should be interesting.
It'll be fun.
We're being very ambitious with the plan. So
You got a lot of people in the studio, or?
well, it's snowing here, and it dropped about 20 degrees within the last hour. So it got really cold all of a sudden too. So the roads are a little slick. So we do have Steve Eichler that'll be in studio. That's why we got a little bit wider shot on me, and then we've got you, Peter Renault, and then Ben Dinger. They're all queued up and ready to go. But we're on, and so yeah, this is something cool. This is our Christmas Patreon special. So we sent out a memo a little bit ago to our Patreon members to see if they wanted to be on the show with us, and this is what we're doing. So I'm just going to get right into it because Chris has got a meeting to go to at 7. So this is Alex Sturgeon with the Hobbytown Hobbyplex, and with me as always,
Will Brenton.
And joining us for a short period of time is one of our Patreon members, Chris Nelson. And this show, as always, brought to you by Pivot Lending Group. You can find him at pivotlending.com. Mention our show to Aiden Olson's dad. Get yourself a $500 letter credit or 0.125 off your interest rate if you go through a home loan refinance. So there you go. We are underway. So it's 6:40. So we're gonna try to get you got a meeting at 7. I don't want to make you late, so we'll try to get as much as we can in. So Chris Nelson, you've been racing with us for quite a long time, at least 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, pushing 4. I think the first out of town race I ever was at was the Hobbyplex. It was for the carpet crashing.
Oh, okay. And tell us where you're from.
So I live literally in the country, but I live by Sergeant Bluff, which is like 5 minutes south of Sioux City, and pretty much lived here most of my life, other than a smaller town over by Cherokee, middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Yeah, I'm actually originally from Sioux City.
Yep.
So I was born in Sioux City in 1978 in the middle of a blizzard, December 3rd, and I think it was St. Luke's. Is that right? Is that the hospital there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born there. So my parents moved me down to Omaha when I was 4. And I used to live on Lakeport Street, and Lakeport, where I used to live now, I believe there's a come and go.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right, because Lakeport Commons area is completely changed.
Yep. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Grosse Point Blank, but there's a part where the lead character, I can't remember his name now, goes back and he goes to his home that he grew up in, and there's like an Ultramart there. And that was kind of how I felt when I saw the come and go. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It's really changed. It's really, really changed in the last couple of years. Sioux City's just kind of exploded.
Yeah. So tell us how you got into RC and what drew you to the classes that you race, I guess, because right now you're mostly an 8-scale guy.
8-scale. Yeah, mostly 8-scale. So when I was younger, I always had kind of the RC mag when that was a thing. And I had a couple of buddies from like grade school and stuff that raced down at Hadar, but my parents couldn't afford it. So I kind of went with them a few times and watched it. Always thought it was cool. Kind of skipped quite a few years forward, and a track opened up locally. And so then I kind of went one time and I saw it and I was like, well, I'd like to do that. I can't race full scale cars because I was injured by a drunk driver. I got ran over and got pretty messed up. So
I didn't
second spots in my back and 4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. I was like 16 and I ended up spending almost a year in the hospital from it. Messed my back up pretty good. So racing 1-to-1 is not something I can do. But getting to the race, the RC side of it, when that track opened up here, started racing the carpet up here. My first car was a B5M. It was a used B5M that I kind of just hobcaused together and got it running. And then I bought my first car that I actually bought and built was a 6.1 Associated.
Cool.
So, and then kind of met Steve Wall. I was down at the Hobbyplex one time getting some stuff and met Steve Wall and kind of got introduced to the 8-scale side. And I always kind of watched the 8-scale, like the dirt challenge.
Yeah.
Never didn't know we had anything around here that was like that. And so kind of met Steve, and then he kind of got me talked into buying an 8 scale, and I was kind of getting away from the track here, just some personal issues that happened, and things just kind of were what they were. I was either that or I was going to quit racing altogether.
Yeah.
And then when I met Steve, he talked me into coming up there, and I just started racing 8 scale and haven't looked back.
Have you done the Aspen Park thing in Sioux Falls then?
I haven't made it up to Aspen just because I'm a welder by trade, so I work all the time.
Okay.
So I've been trying. I wanted to go up this summer, but things just didn't work out. The weekends that I had open,
Yeah.
I had stuff come up, or I just couldn't get to it.
So 8 scales, would you call that your favorite class then?
Yeah, Nitro's starting to get to become more of my favorite class. I feel like I'm doing better. I'm learning more.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder with Nitro because now you have to tune the motor instead of slap an electric motor in and throw a pinion in it and go.
Yeah. Yeah, Emerson, we were going to dive into Nitro again this year, but we changed our minds after the INS finals. So
it's tough to do. It takes a lot, and it takes a lot of knowledge. Like the guys I'm sitting with now, Daryl, still sitting with Steve and Nate, and those guys are helping me out. But like Daryl, Lucas, Eric, those guys in the back that I sit with, they've taught me more than I've learned pretty much on my own.
Yeah.
It's been like a wealth of knowledge, like drinking out of a fire hydrant.
Right.
They're just, every weekend I'm listening, and then like last weekend Eric Fletcher came over and laid down some awesome information that was like, oh, that makes total sense. So that's why I like the Techno series. I've been to a few different 10 scale races, and it never really feels like you can ask questions, or the people I've asked questions I've had kind of bad answers to. So anytime I've ever really been to any of the 10 scale stuff, I've always kind of felt like either I wasn't wanted there, or like Jared Tebow said, some of the track owners, they feel like you have to support them. It's kind of like he said with the interview. And so I kind of had that here, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And that's why I said I raced in the Techno series. I could go up and ask, Jared Tebow, hey man, I don't understand what to do here with this car. And I'd probably get a solid answer from him.
Yeah. I think that's one of the nice things about having guys like him there. They're very accessible because it's a big ass race, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's not like if you don't perform super well, you're not going to get paid kind of race for them, So I think there's a lot less stress on the top level guys that are there, and I think they're definitely a lot more accessible.
And it helps. It's awesome that you can go up and talk to somebody like that, or like I could bounce a question off you with Techno, with the EB, or I can, like, I know Will helped me with a Nitro engine, because I couldn't figure out how to get a Nitro. I couldn't get that thing to tune out for nothing, and then Will tried, and we ended up finding out we blew the front bearing.
Yeah.
Overspun the front bearing.
I remember that.
Yep. So.
Yeah, Emerson's engine that he tried in his Truggy a month ago, we got from a friend of ours, and it had been repinched and was basically like a brand new engine, but it was an older model, and the carb didn't want to tune. Like it just wouldn't let the engine run, and so Chris Nunez actually was going to help us out, and he ended up giving us a Reds engine with a pipe. And I was like, dude, I don't think Emerson wants to race. I hope it's not an insult. And he's like, no, dude. He's like, it's fine. Next time,
Yeah, Nunez is a good dude. He kind of got me turned on to Fort Dodge. There, what was it, last summer, the summer before? I was driving up to Fort Dodge racing with the guys out there. That's really where I met Daryl and those guys in the summer months.
That thing, it's such a bummer. I think the city kicked him out.
Yep.
That was a huge bummer, because that Fiskell track was neat.
It was. It's kind of one of those, like, it was only the place I've ever seen a Nitro engine where you gotta get out of the throttle to get back into the throttle to get the engine back up to the revs.
Yeah.
Because you were just pinging that engine, death revving that engine down the straightaway.
Yeah.
300-foot straightaway into a 30-foot incline.
Yep. So what's your goal? We're kind of going into a new year. I don't want to turn this into like a resolution type show, but like,
sure.
You're on to like your third or fourth year. racing at the Plex. You got the 8-scale stuff. What's your goal for this upcoming? I guess the second half of the Techno Series and next year.
I kind of just want to keep doing what I'm doing. Just try and keep learning from the guys. Those guys keep yelling at me all the time. It was kind of funny the last race because the first time I used a headset. So they were constantly like, stop driving so aggressive, stop driving so aggressive, relax. Just try and do that because I'm so used to the carpet side of it where, full pin all the time. It seems like you can get away with that.
Yeah.
With the dirt, you can't. You really can't do that.
I was just about to ask a question. I lost it. What was I going to say? Will, you got anything while I'm thinking?
What was your first RC car?
First RC car was,
like, and it can be like a Radio Shack or whatever.
Yeah, it was a Radio Shack I got from my parents. My mom and dad bought it for me because they knew I was big into RC, and
For
can't think of what it was. Yeah, it was a Christmas one. Yellow body, and then it had it was like an old C10 Chevy.
Oh yeah.
Can't think of the name of it, but I had that for a couple years, and then I didn't know better, and I drove it through a water puddle, and that was the end of that.
Qigong.
You said you had gone to Hadar a couple times. Was that just as a teenager then, or?
Yeah, I wasn't even a teenager yet. I think I was like 9 or 10. I was real little.
Was that with would that have been with like Rosenbaum and Dale Neisden and any of those guys, or was it like anybody that we know?
No, he stopped racing. He races big cars now. He races down at the drag strap Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
He's racing actually a Chevy, and I want to say it's like a 76 C10 or something like that. He got into the big cars, and that's kind of where he stayed. But his name's Mike. I remember his first name, but I can't remember his last name to save my life.
Okay.
Skinny kid, tall and lanky. You couldn't miss him. But yeah, he kind of raced. I want to say it was electric for a year or two, and I went down one time with him, and then we went down another time. We were close by, and he said he was racing.
Yeah.
That we stopped by, and there wasn't really hardly anybody there. So
yeah, Hadar was pretty hopping in the late 90s. For a while there, all the Omaha crew, what was left of us, would go there to race every Sunday, and then when RC Motorsport opened up here, it sort of we didn't have to travel there to race, but we still went for their opening trophy race no matter what, and we always went for their ending trophy race. And the last trophy race was usually the same weekend as the car show at West Point.
Okay. Yeah.
West Point usually has this car show, and I think it's still in like September or something. And
it
was always the same weekend.
September.
Yeah, it was always the same weekend. And one time it was freaking cold. Like it was 40 degrees. And everybody had their tents out, but they also had the sides on the tents, and they brought heaters and everything. We still raced. It was miserable.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm glad that the Plex isn't closed. It still gets cold, but man, it's a lot better.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think with our new ownership, I think we have there's some room there to improve not just the pit lane when we get that done, but there might be some other stuff in the works. So we'll see.
A Mister system?
Not a Mister system. That thing would freeze. It would get abused. People would like throw stuff at it and break it. I don't trust that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably let you go so you can be on time.
I just want to say before I go, guys, thank you for having me on, and thanks for doing what you guys do and having the Techno Series down there. I know that's a nightmare, but like you said, it's fun. It's great to get everybody in there, and you don't feel like it's such a massive race. We can actually talk to sponsor drivers and stuff. So thanks for putting all that on and doing all that hard work, because I don't think you guys hear that enough from us.
Oh, thanks. And just so everybody knows, your meeting is because you're a volunteer firefighter, right?
Yep, I'm a volunteer firefighter with Sergeant Bluff Fire Department. I've been on 17 years this coming 2023.
Wow.
And I'm also an Iowa USAR member, so I do wide area search, tornado response, flooding, So I'm kind of all over with that. But fire departments, my grandpa did it for 37 years and was a fire chief for 22 of those years. So been in the family.
That's pretty cool. That's also something I didn't know about you. So there you go. Learning new stuff.
Yeah, I kind of keep that one close to the heart. I don't ask a lot of people for that because I couldn't serve in the military, so all the people that did serve, I couldn't do it because of my back, and volunteer something I can do. So
yeah, cool.
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right. Yep. Be on time. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. That was our first guest. That was Chris Nelson. Again, he races 8-scale, mostly at the Techno Series.
Well, that went well.
Yeah, not too bad. We've got Peter Renault and we got Ben Dinger waiting for their turn. And then we've got Steve Eichler, who I was going to bring into studio next.
Okay.
How's it going?
Fine.
What are you doing?
Working on my sprint car.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. Dude, between you and me and whoever's listening, my sprint car was pretty dang good.
Yeah, it looked really good. You posted a video, and I was like, wow, that thing's pretty good.
Yeah, I worked on it like all day that day.
Yeah.
She gonna be good for that next round at the Plex.
I gotta say, I'm when we first moved the oval track to where it is now, we were getting we would get I was getting yelled at by, I don't even think they race anymore, but we were getting yelled at by people for how small the track ended up being.
Dude.
And I didn't think it was that small. But then I watched your video and I watched another video of another track where everybody goes and races oval at. And I'm like, wait a minute here. This isn't.
That track was tiny.
I'm like, this is not even the same. Like our track's still decent sized, I thought.
I think it is. I mean, it's not the size of the RC Chili Bowls track, but it's what do you want?
Yeah.
But that track was tiny. Nothing against that track or nothing, but I mean, it was a tiny track.
People got a race, but I think oval. I think you can have the bull rings and you can have the bigger tracks and stuff. I mean, did you see video of the Hobby Action oval track?
Yeah, that one was kind
of long, long. Yeah, but I mean, they got to go work with what they got to work with. But it was the length. I was like, wow, that is a full length dirt oval. You're gonna rev those motors up.
Super speedway, dude.
Super speedway. Okay, Steve, how's it going? There's a couple rules. You gotta talk into the mic so they can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, because if it's too far back, nobody can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So, second guest in our Patreon Christmas special. This is Steve Eichler, and I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? You're the dad of Alex.
Yes.
And you're you guys have been racing at the Plex now for 2 years?
Correct. 2 years. Yep. October of 2020 was our first time racing.
Nice.
And that was on Family Friday Off-Road Nights.
Correct.
And I remember the first time that I think I ever actually talked to you, because I wasn't running Friday Night Racing at the time. I had gotten those nights off, and Trevor was running races, but I still had to put up like carpet track and stuff like that. But I think I was running a car and I hit your foot at full speed.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. Yeah, that was my X-Ray touring car, and I was running on the carpet track, and you had gone out to marshal somebody. I didn't see you, and I went full bore into your foot with my X-Ray, and it actually bent. It bent I had an aluminum top plate, and it bent the aluminum top plate. It tacoed it on Steve's foot.
Yes.
So that's how we all kind of met each other.
And then I think that Sunday I was stopped at the Plex for something, and you're like, "How's your foot? Are you okay? Are you okay?" You were all worried that
because it was full speed, like 40-mile-an-hour touring car, right into your foot. I also hit you on the dirt track once before too.
Yeah.
with my I think it was my 10 scale car.
Yes.
Was it on a jump?
I don't remember. Exactly.
Anyways, he's been hit at least 2 times that I know of by me on the track. So
Yeah.
all right, Steve. So tell us where you're from, and kind of how you got into RC cars.
Sure. Live here in Omaha. During, I think it was probably March of 2020, Alex and I stopped by the Plex to pick up a slot car track, and that was the first time we ever saw RC racing. We're like, this is a thing? What is this?
Yeah.
We were just upstairs. I looked down and saw the carpet track, and some people were practicing their on-road cars. I thought that was pretty cool. Then another time we stopped by, somebody mentioned the dirt track, so Alex wanted to go look at that. We did. I thought somebody was just practicing their nitro. I wasn't too excited about it, but then another time we stopped by, it ended up being, I think, one of your summer series races. So we saw what was going on and thought, oh, this looks pretty cool. And Alex wanted to do it, so we ended up getting the Centon and started in October of 2020.
That's right. It was an Arma Centon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it was July of 21. We got his B62 working on the track, and he's been driving that ever since and enjoys it tremendously. I ask him every once in a while. I asked him again yesterday. I'm like, do you still want to keep doing this? Do you like it? And he's like, yes. He's like, are you saying I have to stop? No, we're going to keep going. We'll keep going as long as you want to do it. We'll keep it up. So,
well, and how old is Alex?
He is 10.
Okay. So, just from personal experience with me, I always wanted an RC car pretty much since the 2 things happened at once. The Punky Brewster episode I saw on Saturday morning when I was a kid. And then around the same time, I found out that my best friend Chris had an RC car. He had a Rockbuster, and was like really into it and had all these magazines and stuff. So I started going and buying all these magazines, and I had to been probably around that age. I think 9 or 10. But I asked for an RC car for Christmas like 2 years in a row, and all I got was a Radio Shack thing. So, right, that's about the right age, especially if you're going to do a father-son thing.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely better than I am. Right
well, now. Yeah, kids are.
Yeah. But we're kind of hoping Associated comes out with a new stadium truck in the next couple months, and we'll get that so we can start doing that as well.
Yeah. I would say that's probably a given. It'll have the 13 millimeter shocks, and it'll probably have the better steering.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm waiting right now till that happens.
Alex has had a full season of Plexspec Summer Series, right?
Yes.
And
actually 2. He's done 2. Well, 1 full season with his buggy, but
right.
The other one was half his Centon, and the other half was buggy. Yep.
And he's led some Plexspec. I know at the Summer Series. I know that for sure.
Yes.
But I think he's won a couple club nights too.
He has.
And do you find it difficult at all to keep him focused at all, or is that something that Alex is pretty decent at? Like, can he stay on track with wanting to come every week, that sort of thing?
Oh, he wants to come every week.
Okay.
If there's any chance he might not come, he's like, why not? It's permanent. We're going to be there as long as his mom will let him on the week she has him.
Right.
So, but yeah. Yep. He's been doing some 17.5 for club rate nights, and Friday nights he's kind of given up Plexspec just because it's more not as structured.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Friday night Plex nights are perfect for people who are just getting into it. And I've always thought that if I can pick off 10%, so if we get 40 cars and I'm able to pick off 4 people and convert them to Saturday racers, we're winning, in my opinion.
And he really wants to try to win the Plex Spec Summer Series this year. I
Mm-hmm.
told him we'll see how he does at ProTech. I'm sure he'll probably still be in Plex Spec, but
Yeah.
at ProTech we'll see how he does and decide from there.
And you guys started racing carpet.
Yes, this year.
So is it one of those things? Like me personally, I'm a dirt guy, always will be. Carpets already, and to be honest with you, carpet's already gotten kind of old. Is he excited for that as
He does.
as dirt?
Right now he thinks he likes carpet better, but maybe because I don't know if it's because right now our only dirt experience is on Friday nights.
Right.
But come the summer, he might again like dirt better, but he likes it either way.
Yeah. It's just being around RC cars.
Yeah.
What's your goal? I mean, you're the dad obviously, and you like to race. I mean, what are you hoping to get better at or do this upcoming season at the Plex? Is it just make sure that your kid's taken care of then, or do you want to try to make some of those mains too?
I'd like to get better myself, make some of the mains. I told Alexander we're going to come a couple times to practice, and he's just going to marshal me so I can get practice, because just driving the track without other cars around.
You should have him do what I did with Emerson, just the opposite. So I had cones out there, and then anytime that he had like a good lap, he'd get $1.
Oh,
so you could have your kid with like $10 or whatever, and then if you get a good lap, you get $1. You get some money back from the whole deal.
there we go. Yeah, no, I'd like to get better. Age-wise, I qualify for 40-plus mod. Definitely
Yeah.
not skill-wise at this time.
Yeah, the 40
Someday I'll be able to 40 plus.
Will's like 10 years away. No, 8 years away. Right?
7.
7? Oh,
7.
okay. I was making you younger.
Now it's 7.
I think 40 plus is in this weird spot where I honestly am having trouble thinking of guys that are 1 or 2 years close. I think there's a little gap. All of a
We
sudden.
should start running 35 plus or 30 plus. 33 plus. I can race it.
Yeah.
He'll make it like a year ahead of whatever I am. So I can't race it. So like this year it'll be 34 plus. And the next
That's
year
what the 8 scale on-road guys do. They keep raising the age to keep certain people from being eligible for the whole thing. Because it was 40 plus, then it was 45 plus, now it's 50 plus at the Nats.
Wow. Huh.
So I don't know. It's pretty funny. Let's see. So you have so you guys both got you both have your own dirt car,
Right.
and then you're sharing a carpet car.
Yes. We he's racing his B62D. I bought your 6.3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a carpet car off of Facebook that we're sharing back and forth each week.
Yeah, that seems to be working out.
Yeah, and then actually Jake Conrad last Saturday said, "Hey, we were able to work it out, or you were able to work it out." So that he loaned me a car, so Alex and I both got to race last weekend.
Is that body on Alex's car? Is that his? Is that new?
Yeah, I don't know who it was. Somebody had Josh McMullen sell a car, and Connor Hausch bought it, but he had his own body scheme.
Oh, okay.
So we bought the body.
Oh, okay. That's a sweet looking body.
It is.
It's really cool.
It
If
definitely
you want to look at it, look at the Plex spec on the main replay from this weekend. Should be in there. Need some stickers though. Need some Hobbyplex stickers.
Yes.
Or some team associated stickers or something like that. Cars need stickers. Emerson's learning how to paint. He already knows that he got a airbrush for Christmas. So I'm hoping that he gets really good at it, and so then I'll just have him paint my bodies from now on.
Yeah, me too. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Because I can't paint. That's the one thing I refuse to even learn how to do. Oh, there went my computer. Oh well. What else? What else do we got? We talked about.
I wanted to mention, Chris felt like during his interview, he mentioned that he thought the 10 scale was kind of hard to ask people questions.
Mm-hmm.
We've completely had a different experience. The people have always been helpful with us. Will, right before the Summer Series final, put a motor in Alex's car for him because I had to go race.
Yeah, because we were having some weird issues with your car that day.
It ended up being his diff.
Okay.
And then we actually had to run to a birthday party between rounds of qualifying. I don't know exactly who did it. It was either McMullen or Connor or Dalton rebuilt his diff while we were gone.
Yeah.
So people have just been great. It's been our experience.
Well, I think there's two things that can happen. Not two. There's a few things that can happen to the 10 scale side of things, and one of them is that generally people race more cars on that day. So usually when you go to an 8 scale race, A, because they're so freaking expensive, but B, because you do have to maintenance more, you got to stay on top of it more. People generally only run, maybe up to 2, maybe a third class if it's something like mini trugging and they don't really have to work on it all that much. But a lot of times on Summer Series days, people are just busy because they're trying to manage like 4 or 5 different classes that they've decided to enter, And when you have 200 entries, you have the time to try to do that. But sometimes I think people can be very busy at the same time, so they seem like maybe it's not a good idea, or to go up to somebody when you can see them thrashing a little bit,
Yeah.
on their stuff. So I can see how that can happen.
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything. You don't want to go up to somebody when they're clearly, having issues, I guess. I mean, that should be given. But I always thought that I've always tried to make it so that we're somewhat not that way. I've always hoped that but then again, I'm in the booth most of the time, so I don't often know how it's going either.
I usually try to make myself available.
Yeah, I mean, Will's definitely one of the ones. I mean, he's usually somebody that if somebody's having some problems and they come to me in the booth, obviously I can't help them because I'm running the race. So I usually go, okay, we'll see that guy in the hat and the J Concept sweater. I'm like, go ask him and he'll get you hooked up, So I know I heard that too, and and even in Jared's interview, I was like, man, I hope I don't come across that way. Trying to like guilt people into racing there.
No, I don't think so at all.
Many years ago, right around the 2015-16 mark, I kind of had a reset in my own mind where I was like, people are going to come or they're not, and there's not that part of it I can't control. So why? I used to get like, even when one of our guys used to work for us. I mean, he bought a car on Tower instead of us with his discount, and I remember getting mad about that. And I'm like, now I don't think I would. It would disappoint me, but I wouldn't be as vocal about it just because I'm just like, well, okay. That's the way it's got to be. So, well, I appreciate that. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I don't think people like yourself, when you have a young kid and you're coming into it with no knowledge whatsoever 2 years ago, I don't think you guys would stick around if we had an environment that was bad.
No.
No,
and right away from the start, I think the person I remember meeting the first day was Tommy Smith.
Yeah.
And Ariana. And just over time, we got to know more people. When we got Alex's buggy, one of the first people that asked us questions about it was Rob Connor. He helped me with some stuff that day, and it was just, everybody's been extremely helpful.
Yeah. Every track's going to have that one guy that you stay away from.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, I think we're pretty good. So, I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, that's good to hear. That makes my heart happy. I got my phone, my computer died, so I'm using my phone to check in on the chat. So,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll see people ask questions in the 402 Facebook group about getting started, and I'll see our guys from the Plex say, "Hey, come Friday night. It's the best part for beginners." And I've never heard anybody then negate that or say, "Well,
Yeah.
I had a bad experience." I only hear positive experiences about the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, especially there. We're trying. We're definitely trying. So cool. Any big Christmas presents RC related that you know of?
Not this year.
Not this year?
I asked him if he wanted RC or something else, and he wanted something else this year.
Oh.
But I did tell him, like I said, I think once Associated comes out with a new stadium truck,
yeah.
we'll get it. And I've told him throughout the year, you may not get a big RC present at Christmas, but throughout the year, we've been able to keep your car running.
Yeah,
so
no kidding. Yeah.
It's one of those things too, and he understands that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Emerson was making a stink about something. I'm like, dude, I paid $1,000 for your mom, yours, and my ticket to the INS race. Like, stop complaining. I'm gonna lock you in a closet. I'm gonna lock you in a closet. I'm gonna take away your keys to your truck. Stop whining.
Yeah, I know you mentioned maybe going to Masters of Dirt this year. That's my sister actually has a condo in Myrtle Beach. It's one of our goals eventually to get to. I don't think he'll probably be ready or will be ready this year to go.
Yeah.
But one of these years, definitely want to.
Yeah, they have a. Thought they had like a sportsman or an independent class down there. So it wouldn't be. I don't think that'd be out of the question, especially by next year. I mean, you watch these kids. There's usually a time you can usually tell when something clicks in them, and all of a sudden. Like, you know, sometimes I'll feel bad. Like, there'll be somebody who's racing Plex Spec at the start of the year, and then for the summer series. And then by August, they probably could be winning independent buggy, you know?
Yeah.
But they got to stay in it because they're in the points.
They're in the points,
you know?
yep.
So you never know. There could be a moment where something just clicks, and the next thing you know, you got yourself a faster racer on your hands. And it usually happens pretty fast, so... Okay, well, we're gonna try to get Peter in next.
Sure.
So I'm trying to do these in like 15, 20-minute blocks.
Okay.
You know, that way we don't make them wait in the queue for very long. So this is Steve Eichler, and we usually mention him in Plex Spec, usually on Fridays and Saturdays. And then, like I said, Alex Eichler's his kid, and he's moved up to racing independent on Friday nights, and then he's in the Plex Spec class on Saturdays on the carpet. And he's been doing good. He's been mixing it up with all those kids. You know, there's 5 or 6 of them that could pretty much win if they don't crash as much as the next person. That's pretty much what it takes. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Friday night when in the independent race there were 2 crashes. He started last and was third for most of it.
I saw that
until he popped off a ball cup.
Yeah, I saw that. I was bummed out. He was doing really good.
So
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Talk
to you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for being a Patreon member as well. Can't forget to say that. All right, I'm going to sneak back over. All right, hey, Will, the next one, we got Peter Renault coming on. This is the first time I've ever seen him. I mean, I've seen what he looks like, but this will be the first time I've ever like talked to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we call each other all the time.
Nice. My phone's dead, so. Hello,
Peter.
You see him?
Oh, cute.
Hi, Chihuahua.
What's all that behind you?
I think there's a delay.
Is that your Star Wars stuff?
Junk? A lot of it.
Wow.
And my RC's up the side. There's a lot of Jabbas next to them too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there a delay? A little delay there?
I couldn't get the light very good, but
whatever. That's
dark.
fine. Hey, so this is the first time I've ever talked to you.
Hi, Will. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Hey.
So here we go. Our third interview, Peter Renault. Do I have your last name right?
Renault, yeah.
Renault. Okay. Renault. And you're in Canada.
Yeah, Windsor, like 5 minutes from the border to Detroit.
From Detroit.
So I go to before COVID, we would go to for concerts and all that stuff. Like that's downtown. You can just go there whenever you want.
Yeah. And
now that COVID, and it's they start allowing certain people over.
Yeah.
Well, I can cross, but everything's cashless now. So I need a credit card that works at the tunnel because all my cards do not work at the tunnel. It's cashless. So you can't, you go through and it's like, well, we don't accept that. So you're like, oh my God, there's so many places in the States, our stuff doesn't work. So I have to have backup cards for shit when you go over there.
Wow.
Oh.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I've kind of been going down the same route. So tell us who you are, like where you're from and how you got into RC, and then eventually you gotta tell us about your Star Wars stuff.
All right. When I was a little 13 or whatever, I got a Grasshopper, and I would race that at a mall in Amherstburg, a town over, and it was just a rectangle with AstroTurf and 1 foot boards around it, and I used an extra cell in my battery to try and even have a chance. But they didn't check anything. You just brought whatever you had and raced it. I don't remember there being any classes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there was a little hobby shop in there because you hit the boards once with a stopper, you busted it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through 1,000 chassis on that thing. And then as my nephews and stuff or cousins were getting older, they all got them. So I would have to help my family build theirs and stuff like that. So it kept me going in the hobby even after I'd gotten out of it. And then a couple years ago, 4 years ago, I was going to buy a out of print Jabba's Palace Lego set for a Christmas present and I was going to spend $400 on it. I'm like going, I saw Tamiya Legends do a thing on the Top Force, and I'm like, I haven't had one of those in so many years. That's like Lego. I'll buy that instead of the Lego set. And then I started buying Tamiyas, and I was afraid they'd break when you go to when you drive them. So that made me want to get a real car. And then I found your channel watching racing and a good place to race.
Yeah.
And I'm hooked. I bought a Associate, and Santa's bringing me a big boy buggy, I think, for Christmas. So I'm excited.
Big boy?
Like an 8 scale?
I wanted to wait for the 0.1, but I'll just have to go with the 4E.
Yeah.
4E.
We've started to see a bunch of those cars at the Techno Series now, and I'm kind of, I told myself I wasn't going to race 8 scale this year, and then I'm slowly changing my mind again. I don't know. I do that.
Yeah.
When you marshal 8 scale, the tracks around here are for 8 scale already. So when I'm driving my 10th scale on it, it's stretching kind of. Now that I got the 6.5 in my wheeler,
yeah,
I can make it's not so hard. But the 13.5 with how heavy it was, I was stretching that thing right out. And I'm marshaling the 8 scales and the truggies and the buggies, and they just send those things. They don't worry about nothing. It's just go.
Yeah.
And I need to do some of that.
Yeah, I remember when monster truck racing was a thing, like the Traxxas T-Max and then eventually the Revo, and we would always have that as a class, and truggies sort of evolved from that. And I think what happened was all these monster truck guys that would come to the track and constantly break these things were watching the 8 scale guys just, like you said, send it and not even think twice about it and do all these crazy crashes, and their cars would just land and keep going. You know? you said that your a couple tracks were already set up for 8-scale, or were those like outdoor?
Outdoor. Yeah, there's one 30 minutes from my house, but there's also two that are 30 minutes in different directions from my in-laws' house. So I could always go to my in-laws' house and for the weekend and take off to the track.
Right.
Like, so I've got choice. Like I've got a few things, and then I went with the Tamiya Legends guide to one of those tracks, the Barnyard one by my in-laws. But then we went to, I think it's about 5 hours away from me. We went to that carpet track twice last year, or the beginning of this year, and so I was in a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So I was famous for.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that was really cool. Well, I was really nervous the first time that I was going to the carpet one, and I was messaging Will, like panicking about what I was going to do there. Will called me up on the messenger phone line, talked to me for like 2 hours. After that, I was like, all calm, everything went fine. Like it was. So I said, you said I haven't talked to you before. I'm like, but I've talked to Will before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was when I was working on that Trail 70.
And my uncle had one of those in one of my chicken coops for years, and I always wanted to fix it up. It was a yellow one.
Yeah.
And they had a purple RM 100 as well in there as well. And I got to do that one for a little bit, but I had mini bikes, like a Mini Trail 50, the homemade jobs with the 5-horse Briggs and Strattons. My friends had the 80s and stuff.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I grew up on a little shitty chicken farm with like 9 acres of marsh on the water in a small little town. Like when I was really young, so that's where I would drive my RC car. I'd make my own course in the side yard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you have. Do you have a background in any other motorsports then, or is it just or was it just fiddling around with bikes then?
None of it. I mean, growing up in the country, you play with all that stuff growing up. I don't really care about the racing. I care about the jumping.
Right.
And I really wanted to get a Yamaha Banshee 350 quad, was like one of my dream things. But I'm putting my body on the line doing that. And I have a brother-in-law that races dirt bikes, and with the ruts and the tracks and stuff like that, it's not as fun to watch as RC is.
Right.
If you go to Supercross at the Silver Dome, that's fun to watch. But on the local tracks, they're all just running in ruts and not being able to pass. And it's just the RC. I can send it and I can't get hurt.
Yeah.
Unless I'm hit by 8-scale. I've been hit a couple times.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Will's been hit a few times.
Oh, many.
Usually by truggies. Usually by e-truggies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, normally e-truggies. Like there's just like a magnet. It's like pointed at me or something.
I think it was a couple of Fridays ago when we were getting ready for Phoenix, and you had to marshal e-truggy, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. I think I picked the easiest spot, and I was like, I'll be over here.
So you have an immense Star Wars collection too, right?
Okay, so I've always loved Boba Fett. So if I ever saw Boba Fett anywhere in my whole life, I bought it. So I have lots of Boba Fett stuff.
Yeah.
When I was just the right age, Empire Strikes Back came out, and I have a lot of like big families on both sides, and all my uncles wanted to go see this kids movie, but didn't want to go without bringing a kid. So I got to go see that 11 times at the show when I was, back in 1980. That was a big deal to go to the show that many times.
Yeah.
So
it still is.
Yeah. So and then when I was gone away to college, my mother moved out of our house that I grew up in, and all my Star Wars stuff was in the attic of the garage, and one of my uncles just melted it in the fire because it burnt the trash. Yeah, like the little Pac-Man.
Oh, no.
melted that in the fire and like laughed and all my Death Star, all of it, just melted it all. So I had G.I. Joe and like Lego and He-Man were in a crawl space. I got those, but all the Star Wars and a bunch of like probably a lot of Pac-Man stuff. Like
Man.
that was up.
There's a special place in hell for him, sir.
But then they invented this Kijiji thing and Facebook Marketplace now. But
yeah.
So I whenever I find things that I miss from, like usually around Christmas time and around in the summertime, like twice a year, I just start fishing and looking and just grabbing some more stuff from my childhood.
Yeah.
And lately, a lot of Jabas and Salacious Crumbs. But
I was out Christmas shopping today with my wife, and there's a place called Krypton Comics here in Omaha, and it's almost the entire store is just related to memorabilia now. And I was just thinking, like, where in the world did all my toys go? Because I had a lot of Star Wars toys when I was a kid. I had a lot of Transformers. I had a lot of He-Man. Dude, I have no idea what happened to them, and it pisses me off.
Your parents had a yard sale.
Maybe I did something stupid with them because I didn't know any better.
And I wrecked a lot of stuff.
You know?
Like, but when I was like 10 years old, or no, well, I think when I was 10 years old, this is my exact favorite dinky car that ever. I had to find a new one on eBay, but I got one of my favorite toys ever.
Yeah.
And this is a HO slot car. This was like one of the first things I ever bought, like with my own money. And I had to find another one of these on eBay too. But like two of my favorite toys from my childhood, I had to get those.
Well, that was my motivation to get a Tamiya Falcon, because that was my first RC car ever, that a hobby grade. And when I got my JRX Pro a couple years later, I actually, for some idiotic reason, I took a sledgehammer to my Tamiya Falcon.
Yeah, all my models got firecracker. When I had firecrackers as a teenager, all of my, like I had a lot of like Tomcats and Navy ships and tanks, all the Army looking. So I blew all those up with firecrackers.
Because it was fun to do. I did the same thing. I belonged to I don't know if so in my school you could do the Scholastic Book Club type thing, and in there you could subscribe and get a model a month. So I would for 12 months one year I got a model a month, and the cars would come and I wouldn't even build them, but all the jets and stuff I was really into, and I'd build them. Well, then I specifically remember blowing them up with fireworks, because I would have like battles with my Hot Wheel cars in the backyard, and I needed an explosion, and I would literally like blowing up. So that's funny. That's really funny.
I liked a few things.
Yeah.
I still have my original Grasshopper that has a Roadrunner body on it, ripoff. But
Yep. I know which one that is.
No Grasshopper that I had when I was, I don't know, 13 or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then my JRX Pro that I have now, it's not my original one. I actually sold my original one to a kid that was giving me rides to school in high school for like $20. And again, because I didn't know any better. But I talked to him recently too, and he didn't remember that happening. I was going to try to buy it back, but he didn't even remember it. So
he's like looking at it like, yeah, I got no idea where that thing's at, Alex.
It's a glass case, like mint still.
Yeah, maybe.
It has like a little placard that says Alex's car he'll never get back. Or
yeah. So you said, are you going to hook up with the RC Legends guy again and go do some stuff sometime?
We were supposed to go before Christmas, but that didn't work out, to a carpet track. Now I'm hoping we go to, there's a clay track in Niagara Falls area. I mean, it's still not as far as the other carpet track, but the other carpet track is 5 hours away. It's a really good hobby store in it, and I can get stuff at it.
Yeah.
So if I go up to my in-laws the like on the first day, it's only a couple hours more. Like it's not as I can break up the drive and you know, and visit and stuff like that too. So I'll do it again, but I don't know when. Hopefully, right. I'm trying to get to. There's a place in Michigan called Dirt Burners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The week of, so next week I'm off the whole week. I made a new buddy, an RC buddy at the track here, and we're hoping to go over and do some racing for a day. Like it's only 30 minutes from my house.
Have you heard of that track, the RC1, I think is what it is now? It's also in Michigan. It's a carpet track. Is that the right, Will, is that the right one that I'm thinking of?
I think so.
It's where the horns are like close to?
I think so. Because, yeah, I thought they were going to have a factory tracks race there.
Yeah. Well, they're also going to have a J Concepts race, though. So my son and I were trying to figure out if we're going to try to do this or not. And I had a wild hair up my butt about possibly going to the INS race at this place called RC1. And it's, oh, God, I'm going to have to look it up. It's in Michigan, but I can't remember where in Michigan. So it might still be pretty far from you. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm near Detroit.
Yeah.
Which a lot of stuff still is central around there. So.
Yep. RC1 Racing. Oh, wait. This might be it. Let's see. Where's it at? So it's in Macomb Township, Michigan. And it's...
That's within 30. Sure.
Yeah. Here's a map. I'm trying to... Come on. Open an iMaps. Come on, phone. Let's see. Where am I looking at? Oh, dude, it's right there. It's like right outside Detroit.
Like there's a Macomb County that I know that's right there. I don't know if it's this. They can have a Macomb and a Macomb County. The townships over in the States really mess with Canadians, I think, because
yeah,
we do that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, I've had to ship some stuff to Canada before, so it's kind of it's the reverse too. There's always an extra town in there or something like that.
Well, it's a city. It's supposed to be the province and the town.
Right.
But
that's right.
I mean, but the province is like we've only got
5, right?
We got some territories and stuff. I don't know if they changed the classification of none of it to a province, but yeah, there's not very many.
Yeah.
It's not 50 with your capitals, then all your cities, then all your townships. And if we can search things over there, if you don't know the township, you're never finding it. Like trying to look up a phone number or whatever, like a business, unless you know the township, good luck.
Yeah.
What's a township?
I don't know, all the divisions of
like the city,
like a county.
It's all like around Detroit. It's all like Detroit's one of the city, and then next to that, there's all these little
like the suburbs. So
suburbs. Okay.
Yeah. So like Des Moines. Des Moines always screwed with me because Omaha's pretty simple. You're either in Omaha or you're not, right? But I live in Bennington now, so Bennington is an actual town on the outside of Omaha. But because Omaha has sort of spread out, there's no. You could have one home here and one home here. This person's in Omaha now and this person's in Bennington. But Des Moines sucks because you've got like Clive and Urbandale. I'm just using them as an example, but they're actually inside the city of Des Moines. So you could be in Des Moines and then you could be in Clive and then you can be back in Des Moines like 10 minutes later. It's really dumb. What's that?
Trying to do a will.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Was that recently?
No, that was this is my participation trophy from this year.
Oh,
this
nice.
is the first year I got to race. Like,
yeah.
The year before I went and marshaled a couple of times, and then I think I maybe like joined one of the races or whatever, like made it in for the very last race or something like that. And then this year I raced the whole season. So that was definitely a participation trophy.
That's cool. It's big, and it's made out of glass. Is that right?
Like plexiglass. It's CNC machined out of like plexiglass.
Okay. Yeah.
Got little wood bases, and they're nice.
Yeah. We try to get creative with awards because regular trophies, they're really expensive and they take up a lot of weird space. So I'm always trying to figure out new ways to make awards for people.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
All the plastic, those are nice.
Mm-hmm. So what's your goal then coming up? What obviously you're going to race more.
Yeah. Well, so one thing I'm going to start trying to do is use my brakes. I still, I can make it around the track. I can use a whole pack and maybe need 1 or 2 Marshalls with a whole pack, but I'm never braking. Like I can get a good line and get a good groove and get some good times, but I'd never use the brake. And I let my friend use my car, and he drove it like it was an 8 scale, made it fly and then broke at the corners and went again. And like, he's 3 seconds better than me per lap easy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to learn to brake.
Nice. And you mentioned dirt burners. Do you have any other plans to come to the States then and race, or is that? I mean, it obviously COVID is still.
They might lift everything in January 1st right now, and if they take that last step off, then
Yeah.
I have more opportunities to go over.
Nice.
So now I do want to go to any of the tracks that I can go to close.
Yeah.
Like I'll go anywhere. It's a long winter because my place is outdoors. We went a couple weeks ago, but I think I broke 3 times. Just it's super cold.
Yeah.
I have gear, but the car doesn't have gear to stay warm. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
and one of the guys was keeping the track perfect. Like kept going out there and taking the sticks off, and so I mean, how do you not want to go use it? So we were slow at work. I kept being able to like leave at noon and go to the track.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's pretty cool. 8 scale. 8 scale is going to be fun. You're going to be able to crash a lot more and not really have to worry about it too much.
I'm excited.
I enjoyed 8 scale while I was doing it.
I've got 8 scale envy just marshalling them. I'm just like, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they do a 4-wheel drive short course truck too, and those things they're crazy. Like they launch through everything. It's not like people don't go and pass anybody. You just go. You go right through everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Crazy. It's carnage.
That's great. What's one thing missing in your Star Wars collection that you want to find?
Well, I really want a snow speeder, and there's one in Windsor that's reasonably priced right now that just popped up on Facebook Marketplace. But I'm shopping 8 scale parts right now. I got enough Christmas presents already. And
what kind of 8 scale are you gonna get?
E4E.
The associated.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So, and then I'm gonna have to order wasn't sure about the combo, but now I think I know. I'm gonna want the plus one, the 8 plus whatever.
Yeah.
But they're like $470 Canadian for the combo.
What is that, like 600 American dollars, or how much is that here?
$100 less than
Yeah.
Oh,
400
okay.
US and then $500.
Yep.
I always just like to act like Canadian dollars are worth way more than our dollar.
Yeah.
What is your dollar? Was it doubloons or rupees, or what do you guys got?
$1. But we have the loon, like they make fun of us for the loonie. Like our silver $1 is a coin, and it's got a loon on it, and it's called a loonie. And we got a toonie is this $2 bill. So when you go to the States, people they don't even want your loonies and toonies. Like if you tried to give that on the street to somebody, they're like, "Nah, you forget it. You keep it."
They're like, "Wow, you need this product way more than I do." They just give it to you.
It's only slightly less. Like it's 75 cents for $1 to us would be 75 cents to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get Canadian quarters every once in a while that come in. When I'm counting the drawer at the end of the night, you know, they pop up every once in a while.
What are those called? Those are Looney Tunes?
No, those are just quarters.
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 It's not that different of a country. It's just
I know, it's just really funny to act like it's way different.
Yeah, I wanted to make a little paper face to make it look like South Park talking guy.
Now, the Canadian government has apologized for Brian Adams on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Peter, we better let you go. We got one more coming in, and then that should be good. This has been fun, dude. I really appreciate you coming on and giving us your time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very
We'll have to do it next year.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
This will be our thing.
Yep.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Have a great Christmas, you guys.
Yep. You too.
See ya. Thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
So I think the last one we have is Ben Dinger, and Nuthouse was gonna be here, but we got like an ice storm right now, so I'm pretty sure that kept him from making it up because he lives pretty far away from here. So
They got loonies and toonies up there.
I guess so. I'm gonna have to Google that and learn some more.
I have no idea what kind of currency they have. Like, what is they call them dollars, but it's not a dollar.
Yeah, but it's a Canadian dollar, so it's
Canadian
basically,
dollars.
yeah, they still call them the same thing.
I thought they were like, I don't know, like yen or something.
No, yen is Japanese, and
What's French? Francs?
Francs. No, I thought francs were just German.
Oh, what's a French dollar?
Dude, I have no idea.
I thought that they had.
I thought they used euros now.
Oh, I thought in Canada they'd use like French dollars because it's like French up there.
No, they're not. Ontario, I believe, is they speak French, but they're Canadian.
In France, in a majority of Europe, they use the euro.
Euro, yeah, it's a
yeah.
euro now. Yeah.
Huh. Boy, do I look stupid.
It's okay. It's all right. All right, I'm gonna open up my Kickstart, and then we're gonna bring Ben in.
All right.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Oh, hang on a second. Oh, it's kind of cold. It's been sitting here for a little bit. Quebec is French, not Ontario. Quebec. There you go. I knew that.
Oh. Where's that at?
I kind of knew that.
Where's Quebec at?
Quebec is. So if you're looking, I believe if you're looking at a map, I think. Well, it's opposite on what's on the screen right now, so it would be this way. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Okay. It's we got Ben Dinger.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
How are you doing today, sir?
Fantastic. I'm actually warm in my shop. It's a miracle. I have a heater like right here. So
Oh, that's nice. Sorry to make you wait for an hour.
it's all right. I've been watching football in the background here. So
Is it who's playing tonight? It's
the Green Bay Packers, the champions of the North, bud.
Green Bay and
They haven't
The Rams.
been doing so hot
Rams,
this
okay.
year, have they?
Just not your bud. Just gotta
Not
eat
as
more
good.
cheese curds up there.
Not as good as the Chiefs, eh?
Not as good as the cheese or the beer. I even got my Wisconsin beer tonight.
No, the Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. Oh yeah. Well, hey, yeah.
do you think this is
It's been a bad year for football for me.
do you think this is
Yeah.
Rodgers' last year?
God, I hope
Right?
so.
yeah, I'm with Will. I hope so. He's great, but God,
He's not playing with
Yeah.
any heart. You know. You
no.
ever seen the replacements? They need heart. They have any heart.
Yeah, he's got $800 million or whatever, and he just is like, oh,
Yeah,
cash it in.
He's doing fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
So, this is Ben, And why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and how long you've been into RC. Let's start with that.
I'm from Lincoln. I'm in South Lincoln. And actually, I got into RC when I was a kid. What is he, 10 or 11? Around there. A bunch of the older neighbor kids started getting really cool RC cars. And so us kids, like the younger ones, were like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, they got like Midnight Pumpkins and stuff like that. And then so we, us younger guys, like my parents, my mom stayed home and we went to Catholic school. So that meant that all their money went to Catholic school. So my first RC car was like a Radio Shack. I thought it was cool. It was so cool. It was like a gold Corvette, right, from Radio Shack. And I got out on Christmas. I'm like, God, I can't wait to get this outside. This is going to be so fast. Put in the batteries and it just went,
Yeah.
you know, like, and it would only go, I think it would only turn left and you had to back it up to turn right or something like that.
Dude, that was my first experience. So I begged my mom to get me an RC car for like 2 Christmases in a row. I had this thing where I would only ask for one thing on Christmas, and it was a big thing. And it went from like, I remember asking for a bike to a couple of years I wanted a Nintendo, and I was like, just Nintendo. Don't get me anything else.
Yep.
Consolidate all those other gifts you're thinking about getting me into a Nintendo. And then it turned into RC car. And a couple of years, you know, she wouldn't listen. She'd get me, like you said, a Radio Shack thing. And I remember getting made fun of by the kid up the street who had a Tyco RC car. And it was so much faster than the Radio Shack RC car, but he still had his shit one too. He just didn't know it.
He's like, that's how you spell RC, buddy.
Yeah.
that was the slogan. Tycho, that's how you spell RC.
Yep. So
They
yeah.
hit you.
Yeah, the first one was the backup to turn type thing, and then the second one I got was this other one, and it was slow, and it had plastic wheels from Radio Shack. It's funny how all of us that are kind of the same age, we all kind of have that same sort of story, you know, where our first.
I had this really cool, like, it was actually like really fast. It was this RC car that it would flatten out, or it like flatten out and be like really really flat on the ground, and you could like. It didn't steer like this, but it didn't have the joysticks neither. But you'd turn it like this, and it would just like automatically do the kind of like Bobcat steer thing.
Yeah.
And then it had another button
nice.
you could push to raise it up off the ground, and it would go. And then it had like plastic tires on it, and the thing was like really fast. Like it had a little like strip of rubber or something. It like I just like ran it through snow and just beat the crap out of it. That thing was really cool. I don't know whatever happened to that thing, but it's a Nico.
Way cooler in my.
I always had Nico cars. That's what I.
Nico. Yep. Remember when Nico tried to make a legit hobby grade one? I actually stumbled upon the magazine.
I had one.
Really?
I had one. Yeah, this is 14 scale 2-wheel drive like pan car kind of thing. You could change the tires on it. I got it at Toys R Us when I was like 11. Something like that.
I didn't
I
know
had
that.
like a legitimate body on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I had one. I ran it into a parked car and broke the front shocks on it, and you couldn't get parts for them. So that was it. But I took that thing to East Park and ran it around the carpet track a couple of times.
That's pretty funny.
I remember East
I got
Park.
made fun of.
Yeah, so you were in Lincoln. So
Yeah.
So did you race? So did you ever race at East Park?
Yeah. So I shortly after I got that, I got pissed because my buddy, he was a was a only child and both his parents worked. So like, he got right after I got that thing, he got a frog and was totally ha ha ha. And so then I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm just gonna get a paper out. So I got a paper out, and we lived about 4 blocks from. I don't know if you remember when there was the hobby town that was at 40th and Highway 2 back in there I don't remember what that was called. You probably don't if you were from Omaha. It wasn't there the longest.
Vaguely.
But I went down there and yeah. That's right by where I live now. I mean, I'm one of those weirdos that still lives within like a mile of where I grew up, but
I live in the house I grew up in.
Oh well.
I bought it.
So okay, well there you go. So yeah, that I went I went down there, and I used to go down there and check stuff out, and I was saving up my money, and there was a guy that worked there that he had a Hornet he sold me, and I bought that from him, and I broke it almost immediately because I immediately bought like the Trinity Monster horsepower motor, put it in a Hornet, and just it broke all the time, and it
Yeah.
really pissed me off. So I saved up for a couple more months, and I bought a Blackfoot, and then about that same time, I think I took it to school for some reason, and Jake Conrad, he was a year behind me at the same Catholic school, and he was like the only other kid there that raced RC car or that did anything with him. He's like, "That's so cool! That's so cool!" Hey, we started talking, and there was this thing at East Park, so I went with him and his dad, and I took the Blackfoot to East Park a couple times, like the first time, and then I immediately, got smoked by everybody because there was, I think he had like a GRX too, and I had this Blackfoot that was just a tank that was just bobbling around the track. So I eventually had two because I bought like chassis for the Blackfoot, and I had all this stuff for it. So I'd go out there every once in a while, back when my parents would be like, "Oh, okay, you can go ride your bike, halfway across Lincoln at night on a weekday in the summer, and see you at 11 o'clock at night. Who cares?"
Yeah.
With a backpack full of chargers and batteries, and
that's funny. I used to do that to Rockbrook. So in Omaha, I lived at 42nd and Leavenworth, and I would ride my bike with my car and my backpack. My friend Tony and I, we a couple times we did that on a Saturday. We rode starting at 9 a.m. from 42nd and Leavenworth. We got to 108th and Center, where Rockbrook was at. It took like, I don't know, an hour. Yeah. And then we'd ride back at like 11 p.m. at night because that's when the races got over, and nobody gave a crap because that's just what we could do.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was fun. And I did that. I think I did that right up until basically I went to high school, and I discovered football and girls and cars, like real cars. And then I'm like became obsessed with getting a real car. So then it went by the wayside for a while. Then when I was 20, I was at that stage where I was still at home. You're still living at home because
money.
Why not? And I've had a full-time job, so I had a bunch of money. So I went into a hobby town and walked out with a double XCR. And I remember this clearly: double XCR and RC10 T3, because that T3 had just come out, and that thing was so cool. I still kick myself in the ass for giving that to my little cousin. I love that thing so much. And so that summer I did it. I raced that out at the First Street track.
Yep.
So, and that was both of those, and that was a lot of fun. And then I turned 21 in January, and then they just sat around.
Yeah.
So
when was what time frame was that at first and Cornhusker? Was that late 90s or early 2000s?
That would have been 97.
Okay, yeah.
That would have been like 97. Yeah, that's how old I am. I mean, yeah.
Well, because I raced there.
Yeah, that'd have been.
I took my girlfriend there once, pre-Gretchen girlfriend, which was rare. But anyways, I took her there once for a race, and that was my first time I'd ever actually been down there, and that would have been 97, 98, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It was a cool track. It wasn't lit. It wasn't lit very well. They raced. You'd run the races at night, and it was hard to see, especially back then.
That's what actually turned me off to it.
Yeah,
was I got hit in the back of the head with I was marshaling and got hit like right in the side of the head with a car because I just didn't even see it coming. I was leaning over to pick up another one, and it was there was no light. It just went.
Yeah.
So then it made me mad, and then I turned 21 and decided that was more fun.
So how did you get back into it then after that? 21 to.
It was actually kind of funny because I got COVID and I got blood clots and I couldn't walk for like a month. And then when I finally did, I just kind of went through this whole, I don't know, midlife crisis where I'm just doing whatever I want. And then so one Saturday in June of 21, I was out walking with the dog and I decided, hey, I want to get an RC car again. So I just went over to the South Lincoln Hobby Town, which is just right down the street from me. And I walked in and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get like a low-seat buggy and I'm going to build it. It's going to be awesome. And I walked in and it's like totally different. And I just went, what in the world? And so the kid kind of laughed and he's like, oh yeah, you're in for awakening. So then I bought that behind me, a 2-wheel drive Slash, a brush Hawaiian Slash.
Mm-hmm.
Took it home, charged it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I bet you the track's still out there, because I'd saw it, over the years. I'd saw the track at First and Cornhusker. Thought I'd go, drive it around.
Nope.
Drove it out there. It was a Sunday. Yep. Yep. It was yeah, it was funny because there was some on-road guys out there, and yeah, I drove up and I pulled up and I started talking to one guy, and he said, oh yeah, that you walk over there, there's just nothing left.
Yeah.
And he's, so I kind of said, oh, well, I'll just run it at home. I said, that's too bad there's no tracks. And he said, well, there's a new, there's a place in Omaha you should check out, the Hobbyplex. Well, that's cool. Wrote it down. Next weekend was Father's Day. So I told my son, we went to Omaha, we got barbecue. And I'm like, hey, let's stop at the Hobbyplex. I didn't know what to expect. And I walk in the door and it was like, and, yeah, I think I bought those 2 Broncos the next Monday because I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to buy anything for myself for Father's Day. Then the next day I was in Omaha for work and I walked in. I'm like, I got to have those. And then, it just went from there. I think it was, yeah, I got hooked. It was funny because I went there that Father's Day and then I bought those and I kind of drove them around around the neighborhood and stuff and was having fun. And we go to Minnesota every year for fishing.
Oh, nice.
For a week. And yeah. I discovered you guys' podcast and I started listening to it. And and then I started watching some Ryan Harris videos, and then sitting on the porch one afternoon after fishing all day with beer, I decided that, with beer and a credit card, I had a Losi buggy on the way. I'm like, God, I hope it gets there after I get home. So I don't have to explain that one.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the Broncos, the crawling stuff, dude. Whenever I'm like jaded or not having a good week, or I just want to break from RC, but I can't because of just my job and what I am, it's like crawling can just sort of be that gap, that stopgap to where I'm like, all right, I'm good to go again for a while.
Yep.
Yep.
I like them a lot. They're really cool. I think I like those 2, and then that Creighton V2 I got when I think I came in there this summer, and I told you, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to get one. And I came like the next day and I'm like, you got one?
Yeah.
And I bought it. But I think those are probably my favorite. The problem I have is I like to go walking with them, but I can't walk my dog with them because he hates them. Because all he wants to do is, he's a big black lab. Yeah. And so he will eat it.
Yeah.
So he's fine if I'm out here, if he's laying down here in the shop while I'm working on him, but God, if I drive him, he's just like, oh, they're dead.
Dude,
he will not.
When I was younger, I had my family had 2 English bulldogs. But the mama dog, Alice, she was so fat and lazy that I've never seen her run before, even though she grew up with a black lab. And so the bulldogs don't normally bark, but because she had grown up with a black lab, she learned how to bark. So she was a barking English bulldog, but I never really saw her run until the day I pulled out my LXT and decided to drive it up and down the street in front of her. And she took off like a rocket, got that thing in her jaws, flipped it over, and then destroyed the body. I mean, she ate the body. Like she grabbed it, she pulled it off with the body clip still on. She was able to yank that body off and thrash around and thrash around. And I had to get my fingers underneath of her jaw just to get rid of the body because she was so intent on just annihilating it. Yeah. It's funny how pets can do that because, like, we get, you see them at the track. We've got Bert the track dog and Ella, and, some people will bring a couple other dogs, and even during the Techno series, a couple of them will just sit there and they're totally fine seeing the cars go by.
Yeah. Mine, he would be like, he would be a meat missile and just destroying everything. Just, 90 pounds of destruction. And like the first time I ran that around him, it was funny and sad, but it was a hot summer day and I didn't know what he'd do. So I go tearing off into the circle and he starts chasing it. He's running around it. I didn't realize, and he's running and then he starts limping back and I'm like, what the heck happened? And then I panicked. I had to take him to the emergency vet. He ripped, he had been chasing it so hard, he ripped the padding off his feet. So yeah, that's probably my most expensive slash. It was $1,000 vet bill.
Yeah.
Because,
Darn it.
yeah. So if you went to the track, it would be hilarious and expensive.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my son and I came probably a month after that to the first Friday, and then I was hooked.
Mm.
He's kind of been off and on, but
Hey, how old is your son?
my youngest, he's 14. He'll be 15 in May.
Really? Has he raced before?
Just a couple times.
Have I met him?
Yeah, actually, I think so. He's been there. I don't think you were. He's only been there on Fridays, and I don't think you were. It was the other kid,
Either Logan or Trevor?
Trevor.
Oh, that was a while ago then. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well
Yeah, because we bought.
that explains that.
Yeah, because I figured out who you were because the first time we went, he took the 2-wheel drive slash, and that was just he couldn't drive it on the dirt track, and I'm like, oh well, I kind of wanted a slash ultimate, so here's my excuse to get one.
Yeah.
So we went upstairs, and you had to get our ladder out and get that thing, and then I'm like, God, that guy's voice sounds familiar because I never watched you guys. I just had it on my
Oh.
I had it on my podcast, and I'm like, God, that guy's voice sounds so familiar. And I listened to the next podcast next week, and I'm like, oh shit. was the
Oh,
podcast.
it's that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I think he had the high jump record with that thing because he went from that immediately to that, and then there was some where you can stand between the driver's stand and the booth.
Mm-hmm.
You had the track set up, so there was like a straightaway, a turn, then there was a little straight to a jump, and then another turn. Well, he didn't realize, 4-wheel drive and it's brushless and it had so much more grip. So he came around he came around the straight by the loop, and then he came back, and then he just hits the gas, and I see the thing just start darting towards us, and he Dukes a hazard it.
Nice.
And Trevor was just dying laughing because it was hilarious. That one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
So you've been doing carpet.
Mhm.
And what do you like better, or do you like one better than the other one? Does it really matter? Or is it just because we do it?
I think carpet made me focus more because it is more expensive when I wreck. Because I got a used B63 for carpet because I have 2 TLR 22s. Why don't I just buy another car?
Yeah.
It seems logical. So the first time I was on carpet, I just nailed it, and I didn't really take into account that when you hit the wall, it's not like flipping over in the dirt. So that's the thing I don't like as much about carpet, and I like the larger track with dirt, but I think carpet has made me focus more on not crashing because I don't want to spend $20 on a new set of carbon arms.
Well, and plus everything happens so fast on carpet too. Our lap times are, the lap times are half of what we're usually doing outside, and it's just everything's so quick,
Yep. So I like dirt a lot, and I really like this last summer I started going to the Saturday club racing on dirt, and that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when there wasn't a lot of people there, and it was just so chilled out and mellow.
Yeah. I think during the summertime, I would love to have 100 entry count days in the summertime for a club race, but I think realistically, I'm pretty chill with 40 or so. That always seems to be kind of the magic number. We're not there forever, and you can take a break in between rounds because you have to, so everybody can get their stuff kind of fixed or charged back up a little bit. And I kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have planned for this next year? I was saying earlier I didn't want to turn this into like a New Year's show, but like this will be the last time that we're on until next year. So, are you getting anything for Christmas that you know of, or is it just kind of go to the track when the track's open type thing?
My thing for the New Year is I'm going to finish this, which is a T6 that I bought at the last summer series, and it's kind of been slowly being built. Yeah. And I told myself I can't buy any more RC stuff till I finish it, and that I haven't really been very good with.
Yeah, no, none of us are.
So I want to finish that because I want to run that and two-wheel drive buggy, mostly in the summer, and then for the truck series, because I kind of want to. I talked to the last, I think it was the last summer series race. I was getting frustrated, and Riley Filbert told me, he's like, "Hey, dude, you're running mini truggy. You're a newbie. You're running mini truggy, and you're running two-wheel drive buggy, which are like the two complete opposite things. Try to focus on something similar."
Sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of my focus, is trying to I want to get that done so I can run that, and then I want to just focus on getting, so I'm not crashing, and kind of keeping what I'm running kind of the same, so I can get used to it a little better and not try to run 3 different classes every race.
Yeah.
Like keep it 2 max, because I think I got burnt out if I do too much.
Yep.
I've
But not
never run 3 classes before.
Yeah.
Ever.
I have, but only if the third class is a throwaway class.
Right.
You know, like I used to take my 4x4 SET with me to some of these things, and I wouldn't even practice with it. It was just one of those things. I'm like, I just want the track time, something else fun to do, and I'd focus on the 2 and then not even worry about the last one until it came time to charge the batteries. I think that's kind of, how that works, especially on club days. 3 classes with club days is a nightmare. I mean, there's a few of our guys that try to do 4, and you're just like, dude, I don't even know how you manage that.
And those are always the guys that's like, yeah, I don't know how people afford to race this stuff. God, I had to buy 4 sets of tires just to race today. It's like, right. That's always my favorite.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
That is pretty good. But yeah, I want to focus. I think the biggest thing is just not crashing. Simplify it, not crashing. Because I've learned if I slow down and I don't crash, I do better and I get better consistently. And when I try to hurry myself, it's just
no doubt. I think that's there's an epiphany moment where you realize that, I still remember when I was going to when I was younger and I was going to Exarban to race. That was our stopgap in between Rockbrook and like the winter circle. Rob Connor. Do you know who Rob Connor is at the track, right?
Probably would recognize.
He runs the red and black Losi cars and usually sits on an end table.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
So he actually owned ran whatever Exarban, and then when we got booted out of Exarban, he went to he started a place called the Winter Circle, and that was kind of where we went to race in the 90s after Rockbrook shut down. And I remember at Exarban one time, I was probably 13 or 14, and it was just this weird moment where I still remember going, if I just don't crash, I'm probably going to do okay. And I just focused on not crashing, and the next thing you know, you're suddenly making A mains in stock buggy, whereas before I was in the B and C mains in stock buggy.
Yep.
Yep. What's your take on the 2 classes that we offer for stock? I mean, we have independent and then expert, and you race independent on carpet, right?
Yep, and on dirt I did too.
And on dirt.
You know what? Yeah. I think they're great. I really. There's such a great group of people there that if you get in the right, any of them, I was kind of quiet and didn't ask a lot of questions at the beginning because, I'm an old guy, I should know this stuff. But then I started every once in a while. And then, like I was saying to John Haas in the chat, he helped me turn my mini truggy from just absolutely making me irritated.
Sure.
To I loved it. But the classes, I think what's funny about the classes is you were talking about 40 plus mod, and I almost want to race 40 plus mod, even though I'm going to get smoked, because it'd be okay to get smoked by somebody my own age instead of like Carson Sanders sitting next to me, just blowing by me. And I'm just like, all right, little dude, just lap me again, buddy.
Yeah. The independent class thing, I'm so happy that it worked out for us. because it's made for guys like you who buy all of
Yep.
your stuff, you
Yep.
know, and are like giddy about it. They're like, "Ooh, I got this new truck. Check this out. I want to go," you know. So, that's what makes me happy to see it populated by just regular people.
Yeah.
And it keeps it keeps it so that you guys can kind of get better and learn without having to get out of the way all the time, you know, with
Yep.
expert drivers.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's the part I like the most about it, because I feel like it's an even playing field.
Yeah.
Because, you know, none of us are getting stuff for free. And I also don't feel like if I'm getting in somebody's way, I'm screwing up their sponsorship, right? Or if I wreck into them, I'm screwing up their, you know, their income or something. And I'm not getting completely smoked. But
Yeah. The thing about the kids is there's nothing it's one liner I often use, especially when there's young kids beating up on the old guys, but like nothing reminds you more that you're playing with toy cars than when you get beat by a 9-year-old kid. You know?
Yep.
There's not, I mean, that's one of the cool things about our hobby is you can have, you know, you can have a 50-year-old dude and an 8-year-old kid in the same heat, you know?
Yep.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter a whole lot. The kids are usually faster. That's the one thing I've been learning for sure.
Oh yeah.
So,
and I will say the kids I've learned a lot from too. Like Daniel Bender, he gave me a couple tips on my B6 that, like, he told me to do the 2-gear diff, and that
the diff?
totally changed.
Yeah.
I mean, it made it so much better around the corners. I didn't feel, So, yeah, it's a really good grip.
And Bender just announced that he's got a Team Associated sponsorship. So
that's cool.
That's interesting. He's no longer allowed to run independent. That's why he's racing mod. He decided to race mod this year on carpet, and he threw himself to the wolves. Pretty soon he's gonna be beating me. It's gonna suck.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll have 50 plus mod or something.
I saw Will. Will was like, "Yeah, probably will beat you." Like, yeah. Will's like, "I ain't gonna allow that kid to pass me."
I'll break both our stuff. Just kidding.
Just kidding, Daniel. We don't really.
Until it happens.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, me and Will need some alone time so we can wrap this up. And we really appreciate you coming on. This was fun having some of our Patreon members coming on. We really appreciate your Patreon membership too. I hope you understand that. And
no worries.
Trying to make our Patreon a little bit more valuable too in the future with some more one-on-one type interviews and get those on there first and stuff. So.
No, I appreciate you guys doing this. I mean, I drive a ton for work, and it's one of the podcasts that keeps me sane while I'm staring at the terribleness that's Interstate 80. So,
no, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's,
if it makes anybody feel any better, I still haven't heard the Jared Tebow interview yet. So I'm not a Patreon member, so
that's true. I got to just send you the link. That's all I got to do for Will. You should have reminded me. I would have just sent you the link.
Oh, it's funnier this way.
Yeah. All right.
That's
well,
fine.
Yep. Good talking to you, and we'll see you at the track in a couple weeks.
Yep, absolutely. Have a great Christmas, you guys.
Yep, you too. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Yep.
So, just real quick, we'll wrap this up. Probably won't get to any comments or anything like that because we're pretty much over time already. But
yeah, we gotta get the Hot Widows in there. Are they there tonight?
I don't think so. I didn't get told to hurry up. So, so you practice with your sprint car. Are you going to go with me to the Field of Dreams race then?
When's that? March.
It's March 22nd, 23rd. And I
You're
got
going to go to announce?
yeah.
Did you get a free hotel?
Well, last time I just stayed at his house.
Oh,
So he probably could, I don't know, probably could work out just fine.
stay at his house? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Because is it not Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor Larson, he won last
Yeah.
year's.
Yeah, but his dad. What's his dad's name?
Yeah, Eric?
Eric Larson. Eric commented on my post that I made.
Yeah.
He told me to come to the Field of Dreams race. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Last year, Tim Marks and Haichu went down there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll probably end up going.
And I think Craig Moline is a previous champ.
Yeah. What tires work down there?
That's the thing. See, in the invite class, it's a spec tire.
Ooh,
So
invite.
So I don't know what he's going to use this year. But it's a clay track. I bet you ellipses would have been money.
Yeah.
Probably
Wonder if I could
probably
be
silver compound.
What's the invite class car?
Actually, I think it was silver ellipses. Now that I think about it,
Hmm.
I don't think it was a Proline tire
What car do you need for the invite class?
mod.
Just mod 410.
Well,
sprint
there was
car?
a mod invite class, and there was I believe that there was a 360.
Okay.
So,
So
but I think
there's-
he's going to add more like filler classes this year too. Is what
Okay.
I haven't seen the flyer yet, but I know I'm going. I know I'm hired to go down there again. So
Wonder if
probably
I'll get invited.
probably just ride with me.
Yeah,
So
I can ride with you. Let's take my car.
okay,
I only have one car, so
yeah, that's all you need.
yeah. I wonder
So-
if I could be in the invite. Do you have to?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Huh?
sure. I'll ask him.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because last year I think was it an invite or was it just a show up and race? It might have just been a show up and race thing, but I think there was only limited to a certain number of spots, and last year I don't think he had enough spots to fill it up, so there was all sorts of racers. It's all heads up type stuff. It was fun.
That's cool. Rolling starts.
All rolling starts, and then they had this thing where the first round was done by random. The second round was done by your best lap. The third round was done by something else, and the fourth round was done by something. So we tried to keep it like different every time.
That's cool.
So
Yeah,
something
I
it was
enjoy
something like that.
Dude, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed like oval, but I really do.
I enjoy racing oval when I've been able to do it, as long as you have the same skill set of drivers all running at the same time.
Yeah.
It's when you've got like 5 skill set drivers of the same type, and then 2 or 3, like, no offense, but people who can't get around the track without running into somebody else. That's where it stops being fun for me.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I just practiced the other day. I didn't actually race anybody, so
yeah, but your car looked good though.
yeah, I thought it was working great.
Yeah.
I thought it was working good.
Well, that was fun. I thought that was really fun having the Patreon guys on.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think Peter's very far from that RC1 track. So we should try to message him, and I'll give him the address, see if he can check into it,
Yeah, he should.
because it's basically in Detroit. So, all right, we better go because I'm running late.
Okay.
We're running late now. So,
All right.
thanks for hanging out with me for another year. I think this is our
Yeah.
last one of the year. I think.
I think it is.
Um,
We could do one next Monday. I have next Monday off.
yeah.
And I think I have the Monday after that off.
19th, 26th. Oh, no, can't do it because it's the day after Christmas.
Oh,
It's the worst day of the year at the Plex.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually scheduled to work all day that day. So, I don't think we'll be back on until at least January 9th.
Okay.
So, But that's okay. We need a break sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. All right. As always, this show brought to you by Pivot Lending Group. You can find them at pivotlending.com and mention our show to Aiden Olson's dad and get a home loan or refinance. Get yourself a $500 lender credit or 0.125 off your interest rate. And I think we've got some new information coming from David here shortly for that first January show, and then maybe some other stuff in the pipeline too. So I have some ideas sketched out for the show that we'll take a look at. So
That'd be cool.
Yeah. If you haven't done so yet, get on Patreon and become a member, and then you can listen to the Jared Tebow interview. I think I'm going to release that in another week or so. So if you're cheap and don't want to do that, you can just wait. But I wanted to release it before the first of the year, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll release that next Monday or next Friday in place of us being in the podcast. Maybe we'll do it that way. But if you don't want to wait, Patreon it is. So it's on Patreon right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's all I got.
All right. Cool.
All right, nice seeing you.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Yeah. All right.
All right. See you guys.